Hello. It is good to see everybody today. We're live. Going to try a little bit of a demonstration today. Wanted to start off with a piece from last week. I had that piece that didn't want to be turned. Had some rod in the back end where my tenon was, and it just didn't want to cooperate. Well, I said I would finish it, and I finished it. Nice piece of oak. It definitely oak, no question about it. It is spalted. It was cracked all to pieces. This was a knot. This was the limb that was coming out. The pith was right here, and the tree or a limb was coming out right there from the pith. Came out the bottom. Turned out to be just a really nice piece. Lots of interest. Um, it's not a perfect bowl by any means. It's got a little place there where bugs got to it. Um, the cracks, and I did not feel those. It was quite interesting. It was a fun turn. Had a great time. But I just wanted to bring that out, let you see it. Some of y'all were with us last week when we started that, and I gave up, went to a piece of cherry, and the cherry came out beautifully. And so I wanted to share that with you as well.
He's pressed the wrong button again.
He has. He disappeared, and there's just plain me. Sorry, folks, but that's what you
Here
get.
he is. Here he is.
That's what you get with live TV. Anyway, here's Ruby and Wayne. They're with us
Good
today.
evening, guys.
Hi. Oh,
If that goes,
dear.
I mean, Ruby's the one that pops up, so because she was the first in, so she may have to take over if I do it again. I got to take this thing apart and get rid of that side button. Just all there is to it. Anyway, these guys are going to be helping me out today, keeping answering your all's questions, keeping discussion going, and I'll go back to a singular view and I'll share with you what we're going to do today. In fact, let me start off here. I'm going to use this basket. This was a Salvation Army find. Was looking for something else and just looking through, see what I could find. Maybe I could use it in the shop. And this was something I found. It wasn't much. $3, $5, $7. It wasn't any more than $7. I bought like 3 pot lids and this and something else, and I think my whole bill was only like $14. So you can find things like this. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn a couple of small pots. Probably won't turn them both today, but one to go in each side, and that can hold some kind of condiment, whether it's salt and pepper or some other spices, or get a little liner to go inside that can hold um, ketchup, mustard, horseradish, whatever. Um, that's a possibility. But I'm going to start off with some oak. We're going to turn a little oak pot, and then I've got some lychee, Lychee, that I'm going to use for lids. Don't know how much of this I'm going to get to today. We're going to start off with 1 pot. If we have plenty of time, I'll do a lid. And then if there's any more time, I'll start on the second pot. So we're going to start with that. I'm going to use a new piece of equipment. I'll share that with you as well. And in the meantime, we're going to let somebody, I can't imagine who it might be, but somebody's going to read off who all's in the chat.
I've got no idea who that'll be.
Well, in that case, I'll volunteer you, Wayne.
Oh, thank you, Ruby.
I'd rather listen to your voice than mine.
You're all heart. I've often said
I'm
that.
quite sure all the people in the chat would prefer to listen to you as well.
Okay, here we go then. Starting off with Rich, he was in super early. Obviously, Doug's here. Obviously, Ruby's here. And we've got Ronald Todd from the West Bank of New Jersey. Mama Sneaks is in. Mama Sneaks, how you doing? Woodworm Paula's in. Roger Wallum from Missouri. Andy's in. That's door 60. Roger Kent. Fred Gilliver. Going down.
Norman Greenwell.
Yeah, Norman Greenwell. Todd at Glen Cove. Oh, there we go. It's just jumped.
Next one, I think, is Al Dawson.
Al, good evening, Al. Mike Evans as well. Still going down. Haley's in. Thomas Kenny. Vinnie Charlton. Dacher, Timberworks Wood Turning. Tim Ponder. Johnny Foster. Barry Chitty. Dale's in. Old Man River, that is.
Hi, Dale.
Andy Wivy Woodshed is in. Oh, Richard's got no sound on at the moment because his wife's calling from Germany.
Paul Finley.
Paul Finley and Zed's in. Evening, Zed. Still going down. Mike's in. Dances with Aardvarks. Still going down. Hiya, Mama. Rob from Copperola is in. Jim Selby. P.A. Dan.
One little flat spot.
Raymond Wise. And Zed started already. Zed has read that 5 out of 4 people are bad at fractions.
Oh, dear.
Yes, I know.
That's about the truth. About the truth. All right, we got all our flats gone. Let's see about. There they are. Had to find my calipers. I want this to. Don't want them to fit tight, but I want them to fit decently. So. Get my calipers open that far. Oh yeah. And that's probably close enough.
You're measuring the inside of your basket, right?
Yes, yes. Yeah, I'm measuring inside the basket to the center, from the center to the outside end, as well as across. And that measurement right there will just about, see, that will fit. Just. So then I want to figure out the inside, what I want. I can do that with a pencil.
And Zed says that he read that one of King Arthur's knights refused to fight. His name was Surrender.
Oh. Surrender. Okay.
Malcolm Douglas has just come in.
Hi, Malcolm.
Malcolm, how you doing? Glad everybody's in today. It's hope everybody's having a decent weather. We're having a great weather here in northern Kentucky.
We had very, very heavy rain yesterday, and I was on yet another flood warning.
We're getting heavy rain today.
Which luckily didn't happen.
Well, the way it's coming down here, I wouldn't be surprised if some of the major roads here are being flooded out.
Yeah, we've got sunshine, hot.
You work out of your basement, don't you, Doug?
I do.
So does that have a pretty constant temperature down there?
Pretty constant, yes. You're exactly right.
Yeah, I work out of my basement, and I've got heat in the wintertime and air conditioning in the summer.
All right. Just making a tenon on one end. I'm going to give myself just a little hair more.
So Dale's got rain today. Mike from Dancers has said it's a good year for growing weeds. Yeah.
Al says that it's 97 there, but it feels like 107.
My
That's
God.
what we had yesterday, and today it's down in the 70s.
No, we haven't even got the 70s now.
I think I should move over there, Wayne.
I should. Okay, I think we're at a place now where we can take it out of. Actually, it's not. I want to go ahead and put a little curve on the bottom of this. I'm not going to do a whole lot with the outside. I'm going to leave it pretty flat.
Robert
Broadwood.
Botwood,
Oh, go on, Ruby. Go on. You were first.
Robert Botwood has joined us. Good evening, Robert. Jim Selby says they still have remnants of Hurricane Debbie. She was pretty destructive going through.
She's already got you, huh? I thought that was later. But since I don't get to watch the news very much and get the current weather, I get everything late.
And Dhaka Timberworks has said that it's pouring rain in Michigan. Lake Erie has flood warnings.
Oh my goodness.
Well, he must live pretty close to me then.
Mm-hmm.
Ronald Todd has said it's 93 here today with rain in 30 minutes and then 4 days of Debbie remnants.
Wow.
We'll be getting Debbie's remnants in a few days.
And Jim has said, I think he's talking about Debbie again, that it's in South Carolina now.
Okay.
Evening, Rob.
Hi, Rob.
Which Rob is that?
Oh, that was Copper Owl. He's just said hello to
Oh,
me.
okay. Okay. Hey, Copper. Yeah, if I didn't say it already, I'm glad everybody's in. Good to have you. It's been a pretty good day here. I had a group that I met with earlier today, and that was a productive time. And got home, and my family is gone. So who knows when they'll get home?
Okay. Now, Paul Finley has apologised for not being able to do his live last night. Hopefully, he will be back to normal next week.
Paul and his club got displaced from their meeting hall, and so
Oh, right.
He's been working trying to get the new place in shape, ready to go. So that's nothing but work. I tell you what.
Yeah, that's a bit of a bummer.
I am going to turn this up. I had it at 900. We're at 1200 now.
And Al has finally got his bandsaw sharpened.
All
Bandsaw
right.
blade sharpened. That
Yeah.
must have been an absolute nightmare, Al.
I would think so.
Yeah, it's a carbide bandsaw blade, so it was tough. It was tough.
Bet it was.
All right, I'm going to turn my speed back down, and I'm going to use my there it is. Going to use my lamp auger down 435. Just going to go straight into the center. Let's see. I might want to figure out how deep I want to go first.
I was going to mention that before you started. I have this concern about going through bottoms.
Yes.
I haven't done it yet, and I don't intend to.
Oh,
Double
I have.
check myself.
Fred Day has joined us. He says, "Good evening from the county of Kent, UK. A little cooler now, but was rather warm earlier today. He's got COVID again and feeling really rough, but it will go. Well, we hope you get better soon, Fred."
Absolutely.
Daco Timberworks says, I think he's saying to you, Ruby, that you are neighbours in a cool new bridge, yeah?
Yes. It's we've just got a second bridge going over from Canada to the United States, the
All right.
Gordie Howe Bridge. They've joined it, but it's not going to be open for almost another year because they still have to build the customs stations and all of that to go with it. But it looks pretty neat.
Mike from Dancers has said that he cut 2 branches off an ash tree yesterday, only a few inches thick, but it was 40 foot up and directly over a slate roof. He kept some of the thicker danger wood to turn.
Okay.
Hmm.
Well, there it is.
And Zed is going to be debuting his zombie harpoons Scraper 5000 later today.
Ah, okay.
Oh wow.
Go
Have
ahead
you
and put
been
that link in there, Zed.
Have you been dismantling more bulldozers, Zed?
I think Al wants you to change cameras, Doug, so he can see from the tailstock end.
And Zed has just put his link in to his premiere tonight.
Good.
Thanks, Ed.
Switching over to the #1 hollower.
That's from Easy Wood Tools, in case people didn't know. Oh, he's Zed saying it's demolition chisels this time.
Yeah, he's been working on a series. He bought several demolition tools, and he's been grinding and handling them to go be used on the lathe.
And Heather has joined us. Hi, Heather.
Evening,
Hey,
Heather.
Are you at work or at home?
I'm gonna guess she's getting ready for work.
I like that from Todd. Todd's put in, hi, Heather. Eh?
Yeah. Eh?
That's been attributed to Canadians now.
Yeah, definitely.
Eh?
Oh, Heather's just got to work.
Oh, just got to work. Okay.
Yeah.
Can't see down in there real good, so I'm having to turn it off to see if I'm to the bottom yet. I'm not. I'm close, but not there yet.
And Andrew is with us, AGK.
Evening,
Hi, Andrew.
Precious.
Now, I'm going to ask, Andrew, are you on holiday? Because I did notice you didn't have a premiere last night.
He didn't do one last week either.
Oh, right, okay.
I think he's just gotten lazy.
Oh, a bit like me.
No comment.
Thanks, Ruby.
I was thinking about the fact that I haven't done a live in years now.
Fred, I'm not that bad at the minute. Not that bad. Up and down, or down and up, shall we say?
And Heather's.
Oh, Andrew, I didn't know that. Obviously, we haven't spoken for a wee while, but Andrew's broken his ribs and he's unable to turn at the moment.
Okay, I did not know that either.
No, it's probably Jamie said something. He laughed that much. He broke his ribs. That's probably what it was.
Well, I believe actually he fell in the tub. And Heather says she's thinking about getting a #1 Easy Wood hollower. Supposedly you can hollow 8 inches deep. It does work very well, Heather.
It is.
I've also got the 2 and 3.
I've got to say it's an excellent tool to use. It really is.
This one is the mid-size. It's got a mark there for how deep they intend for you to go, and that is at 4 1/4 inches, four and
Right.
3/8.
Right.
But
How far from the ferrule to the end of the tip?
to the end of the tip, 8 1/2.
8.5. Right. Now I talked to Doug a couple of years ago. This was at Maker Central, and although they put that on as a guideline,
Yes,
they do test them all the way up to the ferrule.
I have turned almost that deep. In fact, on this finisher, I know I've been that deep on it. I don't know if I've been all the way to the ferrule or not, but I've been pretty deep with it. Or as they say, real deep.
So Todd said about Andrew and his broken ribs. It's a good thing he didn't drown in the tub of water. No, what it was, he was standing on his steps doing a high dive into the dog bowl, and then he slipped and banged his ribs on the edge of the dog bowl.
Where I want to be. The well, my dad called me up one day. I was driving down the road. He calls me up and says, "You still like that little #1 hollower I got you?" I said, "Yes, I love it. It eats wood like nobody's business." He says, "So you think I ought to go get one?" I said, "Well, if you got the money and you desired one, yes, go get one." So he did. He was on his way to the shop or to the store as it was. So he went in and he bought it. And he came home, and the next day he says, "You weren't kidding."
Yeah, and
They just eat wood.
that #1 hollower is only got, I believe it's a 6 mil cutter that's on that #1 hollower.
That's about right. Okay. I just wanted to clean up that inner edge there. It was a little soft. Now, I'm going to need to. There you can see I'm down in there pretty good. I'm going to change chucks and put my smaller jaws on so I can come on the inside of that little pot.
Okay, Andy the Valley Woodturner's in, and he started off with a joke. I would love to open a bakery if only I could raise the dough.
That's right. Somebody else
And
had theirs on
Mike
there.
has said it's not the size of the tip that matters, it's the length of the shaft. Who were Mrs.?
Oh dear.
Come on. Oh, 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 oh. There we go.
Oh dear. Zed says he was once used as a demo dummy by a judo instructor and ended up with a separated rib. That was no bueno.
And
No.
Todd has said, my friend got thrown out of mime school. Must have been something he said.
Could have been.
The last time I broke a rib was breaking into my own house.
That's a good way
Okay,
to do it.
there's got to be a story behind that.
Well, the window was very high up. And once I got in, it was a long way down. And there was only room to go through head first.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, the jokes are coming through. You're going to have to read this chat back, Doug.
Yeah,
But,
yeah, sounds like it.
Andy says that a golf ball is a golf ball no matter how you putt it.
Oh, dear me.
I could have used those years ago when I was playing golf, Andy.
Now, Robert Bortwood put something in a little bit earlier. He said he got up this morning, not feeling great, decided to go out to the workshop, and then followed it up with, sorry about that. Anyway, after about an hour, felt much better. Just shows wood turning is good for your health.
Absolutely, Robert. That's the main reason why all of us are addicted to it.
Just a touch high there.
Oh,
I'm not reading them out now, Ruby.
all right. Zed thinks that men are more patriotic than women, and it's due to the prostate gland.
Hmm.
And Zed says that a friend was held hostage by a mime gang, and they did unspeakable things to him. Andy says you can tune a piano, but you can't tune a fish.
Yep.
Zed says, especially if you turn eucalyptus, it has the same chemicals as vapor rub. I turned some, and my entire house smelled like vapor rub for about 2 months.
Ooh,
Lucy's
that
just come
reminds me.
in. Good
Hey,
evening,
Lucy.
Lucy.
I just got a box of wood.
Hi, Lucy.
Lady that I used to buy a little bit of wood from down in Atlanta, she's left the business and she had started a box that she wanted to send to me back then. Well, it got kind of lost in the garage and in the moving and everything else going on in her life. So she found it recently and said, "Oh, that's that box I meant to send Doug." Well, she sent it to me, and it's got a nice little piece of camphor in it. I cannot wait to turn it. I've got a big piece of camphor too, but I'm gonna have to wait till my wife's gonna be gone for like a
Keep,
week.
keep the shavings and spread them around the shop. The whole
That's the thing.
shop
I'm
will
gonna have to
smell
turn
very
it and
nice.
clean up. She does well. She doesn't mind
I'll
the
be back
smell
in
of
a couple of
camphor.
minutes.
Sure, she doesn't mind the smell of
Okay,
camphor. It's just that it's too much for her. So if I turn it then clean up, she'll be fine.
that's one way to keep her out of your shop.
Yeah, yeah. She tries her hardest not to come in here anyway. It's just too dusty for her, which I understand. I've still, since I got my dust collector, um, it's so much better, but I have not done a good cleaning since I got it. So I've got to do that, and then she might come in a little more often.
Chris Nealon says your box is looking good, Doug.
What's looking good?
Your box.
Oh, okay. My little pot.
Yep. And Fred Day said that he did his first craft stall last Saturday in the car park at Axminster in Sittingbourne. He
Okay.
loved it. Nice and friendly people, pleasant weather, and he made a couple of pounds. He'll,
There you
so
go.
he's going to do some more.
Good.
And Zed says he was doing some laser etching on bamboo the other day and got in all kinds of trouble for the smoky smell he brought into the house.
Mm,
I would think so.
yeah.
Bamboo is not the most pleasant to work with. And Mike says the Vicks Vapor Rub doesn't smell as strong as it used to. Yeah, you're right, Mike.
I don't
Back.
think they use the natural oils that they used to use either. I think it's
Artificial.
laboratory produced.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
All right. Just kind of quickly running through my 4 primary grits. 80, 120. This is 180 that I'm using. Then I'll do 220 before I switch over to the abrasive paste.
And Heather's asking if we all saw her little wood stash that she posted this weekend. Sorry, I didn't, Heather.
I saw it.
I didn't.
I saw it.
And my Mama Sneaks has said, Doug, sugar could go into that pot.
Yes, sugar would be great. In fact, that would be a good idea. Sugar in one and powdered creamer in the other.
Yeah, you could put my tea bags in the other one.
Could put tea bags in one. There's no end to what all could go in these. But
That's true.
for a very inexpensive find, this is going to should turn out to be a very valuable piece.
Of course it will. You made it.
Well, that doesn't mean anything. The idea that I made it and about $5 might get you a halfway decent cup of coffee some days if it's on sale.
Uh, don't put yourself down now. You're not allowed.
And
Well,
Mike's saying that he's missing just about everything at the moment. He's been doing some 12 to 17 hours days working on his house.
mercy goodness.
Wow.
12 hours
Good
is a
on you,
long.
Mike.
And Fred is asking, are you going to put a finish on this? Because he thinks an oil would be the best.
We'll start with Axe Abrasive.
Tell you the truth, up on the inside, I probably wouldn't put a finish on the inside.
Yeah, I've been debating ever since I thought to do this. I've been debating, do I want to wax it? Do I want to oil it? Do I want to just leave it alone? And I'm tending toward just leave it raw on the inside. I'll do the abrasive paste and wax on the outside. And I may change my mind. I may come back and if I oil it, the only problem with oiling it, it will have to sit for several days till all the fumes off gas.
So Heather has said that she showed the 4 big ash trees in her front yard that have to come down.
Yep.
Sweet.
Yes. They're all dead or dying. And it should give her some very nice wood if it's not left too long.
And Rich, thanks for telling me about Woodworker Specialties. I'll check them out. He says they might be carrying the dome jaws.
Ah. I was surprised. Both of the demos I did uh, up in Ohio recently, neither one of them knew that the new jaws were out.
Yeah, when I talked to King Canada, who has me using the Nova jaws on or chucks on the lathe, um, they weren't aware of it either.
Yeah.
Ruby, Rich has sent you a link on Facebook.
For all the junk that is on the internet and even on Facebook specifically, it's such a handy tool to use for things just like that. To share information, to catch up with old friends. Where things go wrong is when people decide that they have all the information that is ever needed by anybody and try to force it on everybody else. Oh. I'm at the point here where I'm starting to speed the lathe up periodically and shift to a clean piece of the paper. We're up to 925. I didn't put a super lot of paste on here, so it shouldn't take too long to wipe off the excess, and the worn out abrasive should come off pretty quickly. In fact, I think I'm there. Tell you what, anybody using a 1624, Nova 1624, if you don't already have the variable speed add-on, that's this box here where these two stickers are in that red switch. That gives me electronic variable speed, and it was a game changer for me. I've found that I turn fast.
AGK is got to go. It's medication time.
All right, Precious. Take care.
Bye-bye, Andrew.
All right. We switch, we throw that piece of paper towel away, we come back, a little bit of...
Now, Rich has said the DVR upgrade was discontinued a couple of years ago for the lathe.
Oh, was it?
Spindle's Workshop's just come in.
Hey, Louie. Good to see you.
Rich has said, I may or may not be working on an adapter kit for our standard 1250 watt motors to work on it though.
Ah, okay. All right. It does make a difference on this lathe. It's a belt change lathe. Without it, I would change speeds, but there's no probably to it. I did not change it as often as I probably should have. I know I didn't turn as fast as I do now, because now it's so easy.
Yeah, sorry for laughing during that one, Doug.
Okay.
But Haley has said, question, Wayne, this one is not for you. But how do all the people I watch keep their workshop so clean? My shavings go everywhere. Thanks, Haley.
They do go everywhere in mine too, Haley, so don't feel bad about it.
You can't see mine.
Basically, what you do, Haley, is that you don't do what I do. What everybody else does is that they clean up after they finish turning.
Let's see. I go there. See all the shavings? And that's not all from today. It's mostly from today, just not all from today. What so many of us do is just like that. Keep it zoomed in so you can't see as much.
Right. Dakar Timberworks has got to go. He's saying it's looking good so far, Doug. You all have
right,
a good
Ray.
one.
Good to see you today, Ray.
Zed says he always intends to clean up, and then I start another project.
You know, that happens to me a lot. That happens to me a lot.
Richard said he can't wait for his new shop and 31 acres of land. Oh, nice.
That is nice.
Yeah, Zed said I always send it. Oh, sorry, I think Ruby already said that. Rob said some of us clean up while we're turning.
My wife cleans her kitchen while she's working in there. I don't understand how she can do it.
Now, Haley has said, I know this is about cleaning again, but they are all over the tool rack, the other side of the workshop, and I can't even get to them all. I would actually advise getting a longer hose for your extractor. Or use a compressor with an air gun to blow it all onto the floor, then hoover it up.
That's a good idea.
And Robert has said to Haley he had wood chips in his tea this evening.
Well, I always
film.
have wood chips in my tea.
Yeah, cling film or a cover for your cup. That works.
Now, Doug, you better explain these new jaws on your truck there.
Absolutely. I've just put on a set of the new Nova Dome jaws. We've not had them here in the U.S. unless you had some of the British-made um, chucks and their jaw sets. But Nova just came out with the dome jaws. If I go overhead, you can see it a little better, I think. Yeah, they're nice and rounded with just a little bit of a dovetail on the top end. So what I'm going to use them for today is I'm going to turn my lid. I have pre-turned. I found the center, and I put a 5/8 hole in here. And what you'll see is that I can expand into that very easily. And that 5/8 hole, you can see the gap. It's very small. That 5/8 hole is just perfect for this lid, and it seems to be pretty square. This is a piece. The box or the pot itself was oak. This is lychee. I don't know much about it. I've never turned it. It was in a box that I was gifted um, quite a while ago. Oh, still not missing. There we go. So I'm gonna turn this into a lid for my little pot. So first thing I want to do, I bring that back over here and switch to the regular view, and you can see just a little better. I'm going to take my calipers. I'm going to measure the outside first, and then I'm going to come back and do the inside. I don't want the lid to fit tight on here. I just want it to fit. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Slightly French is okay, but a whole lot of French fit is not. Okay. Raise my tool rest now that I got it all set.
The Dutchman's Woodchuck has just come in. Good evening.
Hey, good to see you tonight.
And Kenny's just come in. Sorry, William's just come in. William Kenny's just come in as well.
Hey, William.
Hi, William.
And Susie as well. Good evening, Susie.
Hi, Susie. There we go. There's my outside set. I'll come back and get my inside while I'm here. I'll make it probably just
hang on, somebody asked
hair bigger than I want.
Todd Glen Cove is asking Rich, what is the outside diameter of the front of the jaws?
He must mean the spigot part.
If it's the one that Doug's using at the moment, I think he said that was 5/8.
I drilled a 5/8 hole into my wood that just fits. You can see there the gap in there is tiny. It's not even an 1/8. What is that? 3/32 maybe is what my gap is. So if you do a 5/8, that's perfect. It's just under that. It's a tight 1/2 inch if you close them all the way and measure at the base. But remember, they're dovetailed, so you need a little extra for the dovetail. All right, I got my inside and my outside. Hit the start button twice, but I want to
The Dutchman's Woodchuck said that he's been a turner since 2016, and he is in Illinois, USA. What's your actual name, Dutchman? We always like to know.
He told us once before, and I've forgotten already.
All right, okay.
This wood, like I said, this is the first time I've used it. It is hard.
And the Dutchman's first name is Jeff. Good evening, Jeff.
Hi, Jeff. Welcome to the group.
I'll try to remember that.
I'll tell you right now, I'll try. I won't, but I'll try. Just changing tools, get a little sharper. Oh, yeah. Except that I can't see my line from that side, so.
Jeff belongs to the Windy City Turners Club in Geneva, Illinois.
Oh, okay.
So I imagine you've been getting some rain coming through your way as well, Jeff.
That tool, it feels sharp, but it's not cutting.
Jeff says he's got the Barracuda 2 chuck. I have one of those as well.
I do too. Outside.
So Richard said to Todd, there is 16 mil at the widest part of the dome jaw top. Yeah, which is 5/8.
Okay. Make my tenon. It'll go inside the pot. And really, it's more just a locator. It's not so much it's not a sealing type of lid that I'm after. I just want a locator. See where we are before I go too far.
And Jeff has said that he is on YouTube as the Dutchman's Woodchuck.
We'll have to check you out, Jeff.
Using my skew to clean it up and to get us a little closer to size. You were a hair big. I think it was as much out of shape as anything. Still too big. Just what I want. It could be a hair smaller, just a hair.
Todd says he picked up a new Supernova 2 chuck a couple weeks ago, and now he needs the dome jaws for it.
There you go. I'm watching KLM. They've been running some good sales, but not on the chucks I want. Okay. Where I want to be there, so I want to dish it out just a wee bit. Oh, goodness. There I go again, Paul.
My internet's acting up, guys. I think I'm going to have to drop out.
Oh, okay. Good to see you, Wayne. Thanks for coming along. Raise that too high.
And Jeff says that lids are a pain sometimes. Half the time he gets them too loose. The way to get them to fit the way you want is to start with a taper and then
Mm.
gradually work back until you get it exactly where you want it. Maybe the other camera would be better on this part from the tailstock.
I think you're right. Just straightening this up. I never did flatten this, which I should have done first. There we go. Now I can come in here and dish this out a little better.
Yeah, Fred makes a good point that he's learned that when fitting a lid, he has to allow for sanding too,
Yes, yes.
especially if it's a softer wood.
Mm-hmm. And even there are a few of the hardwoods that sand very, very easily. So yes, you have to leave yourself, if you want a tight wood turner's fit, it's got to be so tight that you can't really close it before you sand it. And when I first started doing boxes and trying to get a snap fit, what I was told was get it close, put your tool down, pick up 400 grit sandpaper and finish with that. That way you can sneak up on it. It's going to be slow with 400 grit.
Well, Mike says he thinks the secret to fitting a lid is patience.
You think? Yes, it is. You're exactly right.
Zed asked Siri why he was so bad at talking to a woman, and she said, "My name is Alexa."
That sounds about right.
And Jeff is asking, do you taper your lid at all?
This I'm not tapering. I'm not tapering this one simply because I don't want a snap fit at all. I want I just want a real. I want somebody at the table just be able to pick it up, not even think about it. If I put any kind of friction on this at all, when you go to pick up the lid, the whole pot would come up. I don't want to take the chance on it dropping off the lid when it's full of sugar or creamer or salt or pepper or anything else.
Now, usually what I do is I would do this part with the lid fitted onto the box and then take the tenon off the box.
Okay, that's where I want to be right now. We'll do just a little bit of quick sanding here. Not going to get real fine with it.
Now, Todd has a good question. He wants to know, isn't there an international wood turning law that requires a chuck for every jaw set that you own? Absolutely, Todd. Unless you own an easy wood chuck.
Yep.
Then it is so fast and easy to change jaws because there are no screws involved. Um, that would be the exception. And Rob says it helps to have at least two, but more is better.
Yeah,
There's one fellow I know has over 70.
for this lathe alone, I've got 6 chucks. Most of them I've traded for. I've not bought them all straight out. traded for them. Had one or two just flat out given to me. So yeah, and I could really use one for sure. Two would be even better.
And Mike McEwen says, Happy Tuesday, everyone.
Hey,
Welcome.
Mike.
And Haley says that she's heard that law too, and as a law abiding citizen, she abides by it.
There you go.
And Mike, the law that Haley was referring to is that you have to have a chuck for every set of jaws that you have.
I'm coming in. Oh, I'm going to come in from behind the lid on the top side and just trim it down a little more.
We're
Okay,
getting
what
a
just
funny
happened there?
sound from you, a tinny
We'll trim
sound.
this down just a little more.
Rich says he's about to sell
Okay.
most of his Nova chucks and replace them with direct thread SN2s.
All my direct threads are 1 inch 1 inch 8. This lathe is a 1 1/4. So I've got the chucks that I have purchased. I have gotten the insert version intentionally. If I ever want to change it back to a 1 inch, which I don't think I'll ever do.
I've got
Well,
I've got at least 4 chucks for each of my lathes, and for whether they're 1 inch 8 or 1 1/4 8.
all right. That tool is obviously not as sharp as probably ought to be.
Rich says they re-released a direct thread SN2 body only.
Ah. All right, now if I turn that down, I'm going to turn down to 600. Run through my grids real quick again on that very top section before I turn it around, which I could turn it around and then sand it, but
I think that's a nice idea, making those little pots with lids to fit in your basket.
Mm-hmm.
Except now you have to make the next one exactly the same as this one.
Well, it doesn't have to be exactly the same.
Okay, you can use
Very
different wood. You can use different woods.
It can be very similar, and it will be very similar. Just a simple little straight-sided pot. Um, that's all I'm really worried about. Just happen to think I better take a quick look. No. Okay. Wanted to take a quick look there, see if maybe Wayne was sitting there waiting, but he's not.
No, he said he had to go.
All right. Take that one back off. Bring that other one back up. There we go. And because I gave myself a lip there, very easy to grab hold of this again. Have to open my jaws up quite a bit. Those jaws won't open on that chuck. So I'll go to this other one.
That's
not
why
a problem.
that's why you own more than one chuck.
Well, that's one reason. One of the reasons I have not used my dome jaws until now is having to change them. Those 8 screws, it's not a lot of screws, but I have this tendency of dropping them when my floor is rarely clean. So that's why I buy spares.
Now, Todd says that I'm one of the few folks who have a lathe for each chuck they own. I even have one lathe with a set of dome jaws only for sharpening my pastel pencils for when I'm using them in my art room.
Okay, that's
And
probably something I should
Mama
not have
Sneak
done,
says, Doug, lovely little sweetie bowl.
but yeah, you could put candies in it without any problem. Oh, come on, cooperate. I think I'm going to like this lid. That's a pretty wood.
Yes, it is.
Run my speed back up again to 1400.
This is the lychee wood, isn't it?
Yes, yes. And I'm not worried about removing this hole, this recess that I drilled for the chuck, because it still will need a knob on it, or I'm going to put a knob on it. And I'll just make it so that it fits that recess perfectly.
When you're finished this, would you show those dome jaws again for Al?
I'll do it. I'll do it. I like them. I knew I would. And the more I use them, I'm sure the more I will find, more uses I will find for them.
I like the little spigot on the top of them because I can see that being extremely useful for small
Sure.
holes like the one you made.
Absolutely. For a piece that I need to turn a little smaller than that, just to turn a little 5/8 hole instead of a 2 inch or something close to that, make all the difference in the world.
Mike says it's been so long since he ate a lychee, he can't remember if he likes them.
Is that the little white fruit thing?
Yeah, it's quite sweet.
Yeah, my son and wife like them. I don't care for them too much. It's okay. It's not something that causes me to have a reaction like some of the other things I don't like.
Now Rob says he wants a set of long nose jaws. And
Yeah,
Fred says he likes his O'Donnell jaws. Very useful piece of kit. I'll agree,
absolutely.
I'll agree with both of those.
Yep. Yeah, the O'Donnell jaws are something super neat, but if you don't have that particular brand of chuck, you're just out of luck.
And Woodworm Paul makes a really good suggestion. Don't forget the thumbs up, please, everyone.
I would greatly appreciate that. Okay, we have sanded to 220. I'm going to use a little abrasive paste on here. Okay, we're right at 5 after. Okay. We're going to get everything on this one done except the little knob on top. But you'll be able to see what we got.
Did you try the box in the basket?
And figured out where to put the basket yet.
Yes, see, it fits just nicely.
Wonderfully. Wonderfully. And
That
really, I
wood
mean, I
comes up
I
a
said, I'm sorry.
that wood comes up a lovely color.
It does, doesn't it? It's very pretty. Um, I said earlier I was measuring the little basket, but I really didn't. It's measured, but not with a ruler or tape or anything. It was just simply measured with calipers. Um, and I knew when I checked, after I checked or set the calipers, I checked against the wood. The wood was already smaller than the calipers, so I knew it would fit. That was not an issue. And then again, use the calipers to set my inside and outside diameter. I did the outside diameter of the lid, and then also the outside of the tenon.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that got me close, which is all I wanted it to do, was get me close, and then I could slowly but surely sneak up on the exact fit. Make sure I get that out of that inside of there.
Now, if you were looking to put something that was quite liquidy into the box, you could finish the inside of the box with something like Rustin's resin, and that would make it impervious to moisture.
Yes. The only problem I have with Rustin's Ruby is it's not available in the States.
Order it through Amazon.
It's not available.
Really?
You cannot get it here. Even though Sherwin-Williams owns Rustin's, I cannot order it.
Gee, and I can get it here in Canada.
Yeah, yeah, go figure. Just the difference in the laws, I guess, or they just may not have wanted to go through the hassle of getting it labeled here. There are a lot of good products that here in the United States, it just costs so much to get things labeled that companies decide it's not worth it.
Well, that's why we can't get a lot of them here in
Yes,
Canada.
exactly.
They have to have both French and English,
Yeah,
being as how
yeah.
we have two languages here. And then you throw in the odd Englishman, and they use words you can't understand at all.
The odd Jamie Page that nobody understands. I like Jamie.
I was at a meeting in London, England once with a bunch of Turners, and we were at a bar having a beer afterwards, and the guys were talking away, and the fellow next to me asked me if I understood what they were talking about, and I said, I don't understand a word. He said, don't feel bad, I don't either. Apparently, the fellows were from the north of England and were speaking a totally different dialect of
Yeah.
English. Made me
Which,
feel better to know that he didn't understand them either.
yeah, it's funny here in the U.S. It's the same way. You got people from the deep South
Yes.
sometimes, and I honestly I grew up in Alabama, Georgia, Florida. I should be able to understand those folks. There are some I cannot understand. Then again, there are folks from New England that I cannot understand either. Some I can, some not.
It's amazing the way language over the years has evolved.
Isn't it? I was sitting in a sauna one time, and the other guy that was in there with me, it was interesting. He was keeping the conversation going. It didn't matter how I answered his questions. He was really leaning in and listening very carefully. And after a while, he says, I guess you're wondering why I'm asking so many questions. I said, well, it is a little odd. Here we are in a sauna. Um, he said, I'm a bit of a, what was, um, anyway, he studies not language, but studies accents and all those kinds of things. And And he said, I've been listening to you, trying to figure out where you're from by the way you talk. I said, oh, so what have you come up with? He says, well, I hear a little of here in Kentucky. I hear a little bit of what sounds like maybe Georgia, and I'm hearing something that sounds a little bit like North Florida. I said, oh, anything else? He says, well, here in Kentucky, you sound like maybe you're from Louisville, maybe, which is where we were.
Well, he
And
nailed it pretty well.
I said, you got me pretty good. He says, how is all that coming out? And I told him my dad was a minister, and so we moved around all over the South. Oh, now that makes sense.
That's a nice little box, Doug.
Like I said, just a bit of a fun one, an easy one to turn, so that I can use this little basket. There we go. Nice piece of white oak. That was dunnage that I picked up from a reclamation center up the road here. And then
Hmm.
that lychee is just gorgeous, just gorgeous. I think I'm going to come back with a piece of white oak for a knob to go in there now. And you can see and imagine two of those. I wish I had a big piece of lychee so I could put a oak lid on the lychee box. That would be cool. But there is a $5 fine that oh, $50 at least. It may go up a little higher once I get the other one turned and the knobs put on. So there you have it. Any other
Very,
thoughts you have there, Ruby?
that's beautiful, Doug. I really like that. I
Oh,
think
you
of
wanted
all
me
the
to.
projects you've done recently, I like this one best.
I'm just trying to see if it shows up some of the medullary rays that are going through it. It's not really showing up on the camera. They're subtle. There's some right there. If they just going through that vein line, there's some medullary rays going straight
Yep,
across.
we can see them.
Okay. It's pretty cool. White oak, I think is a very very pretty wood, but it's very subtle. You have to look very carefully. Y'all wanted to see, or some of you wanted to see the dome jaws a little better. Oh, before I go away, there are the dome jaws.
And there's the little spigot on the top of them
Yep,
that's really handy for putting into like a 5/8 hole. I think
roughly.
that
Yeah,
is great.
I turned a 5/8 hole to sit those down into, and they slip down in there with no problem whatsoever. Um, Nice and deep. They're a heavy set of jaws. Um, but they held that piece without any problem, no issues whatsoever. Uh, I don't have those closed all the way. There we go. That's got them closed. So one of the things I'm planning on doing is I'll have this on the chuck, and I'll have a longer piece of, whether it's something I turn or something I buy. I may go buy a piece of hardwood dowel that I can run through from the back side, and I can just bring out what little bit I want. So I'll bring out 2 inches, turn it, bring it out a couple more inches, and turn it. Then I'll have a string steady on the end that'll keep the end from trying to bounce up and down like they tend to do. But anyway, that'll work. That'll work.
Yeah, for small dowel-like pieces, you can thread it through the headstock of your lathe
Hmm.
and then hold it with those jaws. And most lathes will take up to a 3/8 inch dowel through them.
Yeah, you said that the other day, and I started to look and see. I think I've got, what size is that? I've got some dowel sitting here. Well, that's 1/2 inch, but that will go. Nope, it won't go through.
Yeah,
That's 3/8 would be it.
yeah, 3/8 is the size I found works on pretty well all of the lathes that I've got.
Right. But those are going to be handy. I've seen those. Um, uh, don't know if Wayne's used them or not. I know I've seen Mark use them. Pete has used them. Several of the UK folks have used them, and they are really nice. Turning turning tenons or finials.
Right.
Turn your tenon first if you want to. Then you could flip it around, put it in there,
Yeah, the
as they
ones
say,
they're
project.
using are the record power dome jaws, but they don't have that little spigot on the end.
Right, right. They miss out on having that little part, that little small recess capability. That's one reason I was looking forward to getting these and trying them out. I really wanted to do something with a small recess. And here's my other piece for the other lid. So you can see it's a small, it's a 5/8 hole, and it just drops down on there just sweet as it can be. And I'll give it a half a crank, and it'll be tight in there.
And Jeff's saying that's one thing he didn't see last weekend at the Turn On Chicago Symposium. Boxes with how to turn a box with lids.
Ah, those go through phases. They'll go through a phase where everybody's turning them, and then there's a phase where nobody's turning them, and it's not a whole lot of in between.
Yeah.
It's like
And
coloring pieces. People love them or they hate them. You put something on Facebook that you've a bowl that you've painted inside or outside or both, and you'll understand what I'm talking about. People are 100% one way or the other. There's not much in between.
now I tend to do my boxes different than you. I do the box but I don't take the tenon off. I do the lid, fit the lid on the box in the chuck, and then
Hmm.
and take the tenon off of the lid. Then I
Yeah.
will turn the box around and take the tenon off the box.
Right, right. And if I was doing a box and I wanted a tight wood turner's fit, for sure that's what I would do because that's really the only way to get a good tight fit. This there's there's no rattle, but it does it it won't hold the top or won't hold the base at all. It I got it just past that point where there's friction between the lid and the box because I wanted it just that easy.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'll
Jeff
put just a
says
little knob on there.
Jeff says he does art shows, and man, are people picky. They really are very
Yeah,
picky about how you fit
absolutely.
lids on boxes.
Yeah, yeah, they
You
are.
should do
Yeah.
them both ways, tight
Uh-huh.
and loose.
Absolutely. You don't want that French fit, as we call it, too loose, like in Toulouse Avenue there in the French Quarter. Um, you don't want that. But if it's if it fits where it doesn't rattle, but you can pick it up without any friction, that's not a bad fit
Right.
for turners for men. You want it quite often for men just a friction fit, which means a longer tenon. If you make that little tenon there, instead of an eighth of an inch, if you made it, a quarter to 3/8, where it would slide down in there and cause just a slight bit of friction on the inside. Men kind of like that a little bit. Wood turners, they want to go, which for a table, I would not suggest a pop fit for a table. So
No, I agree with you there. I think that's a perfect fit for what it's going to be used for.
yeah, yeah, Ron. We can paint, especially if it's a crummy piece of wood, solid but a crummy piece. The grain just doesn't look good at all, or there's no grain. We can paint them and make them look like something. But I agree, wood is beautiful. I love wood, even plain wood. I like, um, but from a retail side of it, it sometimes painted is what people are looking for sometimes. Even the same shape, size bowl and paint them different colors. You can't paint 15 bowls red and expect people to love them. But if you do a red, a blue, a green, a yellow, on and on and on, sometimes that makes a beautiful set that people really like. Think back to the 60s and 70s with the what did they call that? Um, fantasy, not fantasy glass. But anyway, it was glassware that was different colors. They were white on the inside. They were various colors on the outside, and people collected those colors, not to get a set of one color, but to get a set of all the colors that were out there. So
Hmm.
forget what that was called now. Somebody will
I lived
PM
in
me
that
after a
time
while.
period, but I don't
Car-
remember it. Rich
Carnival
says
glass.
carnival glass.
Yes. Yep. Yep. That was it. Carnival glass. I wanted it to be F for some reason. That's why I started to say fantasy. Carnival glass. Yeah. Those were extremely popular. Like I said, people would collect one of each color. And of course, they changed the colors every year. It might be a canary yellow one year and a banana yellow the next year.
Yeah,
They
Jeff,
might four or
Jeff
five
says
different yellows.
Jeff says fuse glass.
Yeah,
I
fuse glass
think,
is a little different from what I'm thinking of.
or
Fiesta, Fiesta, Jim. Yes, that's it. Fiesta glass. Ah, I knew I'd describe it well enough that somebody would come up with it. Fiesta, that's what it is.
hmm,
Carnival glass was very similar, a little different though. But yes,
I don't remember that time period. Sorry.
it's a fuzzy remembrance way back in the back somewhere. Um,
I was
childhood memory.
I was probably working very hard to pay rent and put food on the table back then.
You probably were. You probably were. My mother didn't collect that. She collected false craft, which is more the harvest gold with a darker gold and brown decoration on it. I've
Mm.
got most of her false craft uh, dishes. So she just decided one day, I don't want it anymore. My sister didn't want it. So I said, yeah, we'll take it. We haven't budged, hadn't touched it. It's good for use every day. Anyway, folks, it has been a great day. Thank you all so much for coming in. The reminder was given a while ago. Please do hit the thumbs up on the way out if you haven't already. If you haven't subscribed yet, I would greatly appreciate you subscribing and go ahead and share the video out. I will have a video coming out, not another live, but another video. And it'll probably be tomorrow, maybe Thursday, of finishing up that oak bowl from last week. Some of you may not have seen it. The one that we could not finish because it kept jumping off the lathe because the wood was so crummy.
I,
But now you
I
can
would
see
I
what.
would still fill all those cracks and holes with resin or something.
See,
And
I'm not.
I'm not a big resin fan.
Yeah, I, Ruby, I kind of think like you. However, I mean, there's one here in the side. There's a big hole in the bottom, plus all the cracks in the world. Um, there are people out there who are looking for that kind of thing. They don't know they're looking for it, but when they see it, this will not stay on the shelf more than about a week when I put it in the store.
And see, if I got to that point on a piece, I would throw it away because there's too much good wood to turn instead.
And I could have done that before I finished it, but now that it's finished, no way. This is 8 3/8 in diameter, and height wise, it is one
You
and three
did it.
quarter.
You did a great job finishing it and keeping it all together. I have to
Well,
give you credit for that.
it was uh, it was not the easiest thing to get it done. Back here on the bottom was where that bad wood was. It was crumbling away. So I had to come back to the top side and figure a way to grab hold of it so that I could then turn that down to a place. And I ended up using my 4-inch jaws to expand out. And then all that's gone away now. There's no way you can know how I grabbed that. Um, there's a little bit of a foot. I'll get it where you can see it right
We
there. There's a little bit of a foot definition, but that was part of the curve. I made the definition come through the curve, um, like it should be, like it should be. So
and Zed
unless there's
suggests that you make wooden bow tie type inserts into the gaps.
yeah, Billy Bird has been doing that a lot recently with his laser. He cuts the hole and the bow tie to put in there. Sometimes it's not actually a bow tie. Sometimes it's a butterfly or something else. So anyway, don't have a laser, so I'm not going to do that. I'm very seriously considering a laser. It'll be one like Zed uses, just to engrave, not to cut. So anyway, been a good day. I appreciate all of you being here. It's we've gone over the hour by 25 minutes, but it's okay. We've been talking for the last 20. But there you go. One oak box with a lychee lid. It will get a knob on the top. And I think the more I look at this, the more I'm going to put something on the inside. It won't be much, but I'll put something
Not,
on it.
Nigel wants you to keep them informed if it sells, but not the price.
Oh, the big oak bowl. I will. I'll let you know when it sells. It'll probably be another 2 weeks before I put it in a store. I know where it's going to go. Just and they're not open yet. They open the 13th, so next
Uh,
week.
I'd be interested to see what it sells for.
Yeah, yeah. I'll let you know offline. All right, guys. Thank you so much. It's been a good day.
It
Um,
is.
tell you what, I hope you're able to get out in the shop. I know it's hot in a lot of places, wet in a lot of places. Get out in the shop, get you something now on the lathe, and spin it around. Until next week, we'll see you later. Bye bye.